Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Shadow of Mordor. I played it on the Xbox One. It's also available on the PS4 and PC. So I'm just going to address it right away because it's kind of a hot topic issue, but the loot boxes, I'll say it, they didn't really affect my game at all. I say this because you can use an in-game currency to buy them. It's silver. You can, with real-world money, buy gold and buy other boxes, and I guess they're probably better boxes. But like I said, it didn't really affect my game. I bought plenty of boxes with my silver, and I got a ton of silver throughout the game, so it didn't really matter. So let's jump into the story. Once again, you return to basically Mordor, and you play as Talion and Celebrimbor once more. And at the beginning, they forge a new Ring of Power. It's their own Ring of Power. It's not for Sauron. But unfortunately, Celebrimbor gets nabbed, and Talion has to trade it to Shelob to save him. And if you're curious, Shelob is the giant spider, you know, the one that captured Frodo in the movies and books. But she can also turn into like a human form in this game. I don't remember if she could do that in the books. Yeah, it's been a long time. After that, she essentially uses them, but she also does try and benefit them because she's trying to stop Sauron as well. And that is their goal. They want to stop Sauron. They're still trying to save Middle-earth. Celebrimbor is still kind of a dick, Talion is still kind of naive, but they work well together overall. And I've got to say, I actually enjoy the story. I like the way they weave basically the tutorial into the story, and I enjoy the new characters that they've added. Some of those characters are human, some of them are not, like Shelob and this weird tree spirit thing. But they've also added a lot of character to the orcs, well beyond what was in the first game, so I like that. And they'll pop up to help you as well once you begin turning them to your side. As for the audio is excellent in this game. From the ambient sounds to the combat sounds to the voiceover work, it's all very, very well done. And well, considering that this is a Lord of the Rings game and those movies had dope soundtracks, it stands that the game should have a dope soundtrack, and it does. It's amazing. It's wonderful music. It really goes very well with everything that's going on. As for the gameplay, this is a third-person stealth action game reminiscent of a lot of other games by WB. I won't name names. But that having been said, I will say that I don't feel like some of the gameplay elements, like the combat, is quite as solid as some of the other ones, as well as the free movement. And by free movement, I mean the climbing, jumping, you know, that. I don't think it works quite as well as other games, and it's kind of a disappointment. I was really hoping for a lot of growth in that. I did feel like the first game could have done some of those systems better, but this one does not do them even as well as the first game, honestly. I found in combat, I often got screwed over because my character would just kind of start swinging rather than go to the next target, or wouldn't guard when I wanted. I found that my stealth was often ruined because he wouldn't climb in the direction I wanted him to climb. The gameplay is, however, very similar to the first, except for now there's the like fortresses that you take over, and you can really build and use your army. I mean, that's actually a huge portion of the game, and I love it so much more in this game. I will say there are some things like the Nemesis system that have returned, and they're at times still very infuriating. Specifically, some of the new abilities that the enemy orcs will have, like the tricky escape perk, that annoyed the shit out of me. Basically, when you're about to execute them, they can just get away and they fuck off to somewhere else on the map. Now, maybe that wouldn't be so annoying if I didn't run into about half a dozen captains who all had that ability, so I failed to kill half a dozen of them in a row, and it just really pissed me off. I also find that, again, and I found it very infuriating in the first game, there are times where I definitely got robbed in combat with a captain because some other captain will show up, or multiple other captains will show up. I still find that infuriating, so I don't necessarily love that. I do love elements of the Nemesis system. I don't love the entirety of it. This game, more so than the first, there's plenty of questing to do. There's a lot of other things to do, to the point where it's kind of too much, but it's also kind of not enough. What I mean is there's a ton of other stuff to do, but a lot of it's very repetitive. I should also mention that there's a loot system in this game. You get a lot of gear as you go along and level up, and like the higher level the orc is, as well as the higher level you are, you will get better gear. You get gear from captains specifically, but it's your main sword, your bow, your cloak, your armor, etc. You get a ton of that. And that also comes in the loot boxes as well. And you can break ones you're not using down into the silver to buy in-game loot boxes. Overall, I did enjoy the gameplay in this game. I actually had a lot of fun playing it. There were times where I definitely got lost in just trying to wipe out as many captains as I could. I do find that to be almost a problem in this game, is it's too easy to get distracted. So as for the controls, I do think the controls for the most part work very well. Like I said, I did have some issues, but I felt like those were more gameplay issues rather than actual control issues. But maybe they are one and the same. I generally felt like I would try and jump up to a ledge and he would fuck off in some other direction and jump up to a ledge way over there and get me spotted. So that was a problem. And like I said, in combat, he might not necessarily go where I wanted him to, so I'm not sure if that's a control or a gameplay issue. For the most part though, the movement felt very good, it felt very smooth, and I liked a lot of it, but like I said, there were some things in the combat that could have been gameplay or control, as well as the stealth, so that was disappointing to me. Lastly, the graphics. It's a good looking game. It's a very good looking game, but for some reason I feel like it just could have looked better. Some of the things, I should say the world itself could look a little better, could have a bit more detail in it, but the characters themselves, they all look excellent. They look absolutely phenomenal. And when I say characters, I do mean the main human characters as well as characters like Shelob when she's in human or spider form. I also mean the orcs, specifically the captains that you do take over. The amount of detail in there is fantastic. So before I hit the wrap up, one other thing I do want to address, and it's minor, but it does get old if you end up hunting tons of captains like I did. And that is the monologue that the orcs deliver before you actually fight them, or once you've engaged them. That shit gets old. Because some of those dudes go on and on for a while, and you could be mid-combat when they bust in and break out their monologue, and you're just like, okay, that's enough. Please stop. I want to continue fighting. So I will say that that can break the flow of combat. Okay, so to wrap this up, long story short, I actually really enjoy this game. It is right now full price, and I might not say pay full price. I would say maybe wait till it drops a bit, but it is overall an enjoyable game worth playing. For the most part, had a ton of fun. There are some things that drove me a little nuts while playing it, and that's why I wouldn't say full price, but I would recommend it. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me who your least favorite Lord of the Rings character is? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.